If you're feeling comfortable that America cannot slide into authoritarianism, please don't swipe yet. Keep watching. Okay, my morning's not up to the best start. I'm getting ready to do a lecture at Knox College, which is why I'm in Galesburg, Illinois, in the Holiday Inn. But I packed French cuffs and didn't remember to bring any cufflinks. So that's the kind of day I'm having. But I wanted to jump on here to talk for just a few minutes about authoritarianism and the possibility that America could slide into authoritarianism, because I think in the midst of the political season, people are talking about this a lot, usually to make an accusation that if we elect one candidate or the other, democracy is going to be over. And that's not what this is about. I'm not going to talk about that. I have my thoughts about it. But I'm really here to talk about the research behind how this can happen. And it goes back to Stanley Milgram's work on obedience. Lots of great researchers have picked up this line. If you don't know Milgram's work, especially the obedience experiment, there's a wonderful film on it that you can see on YouTube, a documentary about it. Certainly, if you want to read anything that stems from it, I encourage it. But in essence, what Milgram showed us was that human nature cannot be relied upon to do the right thing. And so Milgram was able to, for instance, in the 1960s, bring people into his lab at Yale University and get ordinary folks, good people, kind people, empathetic people, to engage in an experiment where they thought they were administering electrical shocks to another person that they thought was randomly selected between the two of them to be in the other room or right beside them. There were several iterations of this experiment. That's really horrifying. And I think when I talk to students about this, the first thing they want to do is say, well, that was in the 1960s. People were more obedient. People were not more obedient in the 1960s, kids. Let me tell you, there was a lot of countercultural stuff happening then, too. And even though that experiment is unethical in the sense of we can never replicate that again in a college or university setting, it has been done on television shows more recently, and the exact same thing happens. About half the people will continue to administer shocks the whole way to the end of the shockboard. The shockboard is a really important thing, and I often use it as a metaphor in my classes because they're increments. They're small 15-volt increments. And so that's how it happens. If they walked into the lab and they said, look, go and shock them at 450 volts, they probably wouldn't get 50% of people to do that. But because they start at the lowest volts, and every time the person gets a wrong answer on this test that they're administering, they ask them to shock them just a little bit more, a little bit more. It's that gradual, it's the continuum that really matters. And so pay attention to what's happening of our language, what we're willing to tolerate, what we're willing to excuse, what we're willing to rationalize, because it's those small increments along time that lead to catastrophic events. I'm not just talking about the Holocaust. Certainly that's an important thing, and that's what Milgram was interested in studying. But you can use this to explain the Rwandan genocide. You can use it to explain the Jim Crow South. You can use it to explain the transatlantic slave trade. People, of course, are predisposed to doing good, but put in a particular context, put in the right context. I don't know if right is the correct word, but put in a particular context, we can't be counted on to do the right thing. That's horrifying. I'm going to go on with my day and hope nobody notices that I don't have cufflinks. I hope you have a good day.